And we are back. What's going on, legend? But welcome back to Beyond the 90. We've got a video today where we're going to be analysing the game. Now, we don't normally do them after the game, especially post-match. But, again, we're going to the games and being a little bit busy. I'm going to go into some specific things in this, why it was useful. We're going to look at some of the formations, how we played of the game. But, I mean, let's get straight into it. I mean, Leicester City 1-2-1. Obviously, that's what we wanted. We wanted the fourth win in a row, which is fantastic. We'll get into Enzo's comments as well as we go through. Going to get into some tactical analysis as well. So we started off with pretty much the formation that we thought we were going to play. Now, I know it's not the 4-3-3. I can't find a builder that gives you the 4-3-3, the 4-3-2-4-1. Always managed to get it wrong. And give that same formation, but we've got this here. Like, for example, Ricardo, we know, isn't really playing right wing. He is kind of defensively, but if I click on it and look at the heat map, oh, it's not working. Why is it not working? I have to look. Let's go to this one. Leicester Cardiff. That was not working. Oh, it's there. That's why. Sorry, guys. But yeah, if you actually look at Ricardo and his heat map, he was playing that central role, but also I thought he was chucking back a little off. He was so high up the pitch, and at this time he was actually arriving some really good areas as well. So in terms of Ricardo, I think again it's obviously not showing the same formation that I would have thought that this formation says. And it was really interesting to look at the heat maps away from this. We're going to get into individually, but that's how we started the game. So we started with, again, the 4-2-3-1, Callum Doyle. We'll get through in Yannick Vestergaard, Fars, Ricardo. Mads at the back came back after injury. Harry Winks, Wilfred and Diddy playing that high eight. KDH playing the high eight. Mavididi, Iheanacho, and Marcel. We'll get on to some of the individuals as we go through, but in this formation, I was quite happy going into it, and I was surprised, that Ndidi was starting. I thought Casadei would have been dropped straight into the team, to be perfectly honest with you. The fact that he wasn't was kind of a testament to Ndidi and how well he played. And he actually played well in this game, in my opinion. Iheanacho was another one. Because Iheanacho played the majority of minutes at Huddersfield, I thought they'd rest him and they'd swap out Vardy and then put Iheanacho later on. He really likes Iheanacho, and I think Iheanacho, at times he looks better than the Championship. He looks so good. The ability to get past a player, the ability to bring other people into the game. So the fact this on a 4-3-3, he was getting some of the play into Mavididi and Marcel really nicely. At times he was linking play, he was darting into the box. I just want him to see him as in the box more. That's my only thing. That's my only disadvantage I would say to him. But again, another great game. If I get his up here. Oh, not that one. If you look at this, oh, why is my sofa score being a nightmare? But if you look at his heat map, it's relatively central. You would say this is like a high A position. He did arrive in the box at times, but he was playing mostly outside the box. Now, if we're speaking about a Jamie Vardy and things like that, that's not what we expect at all. So that's not criticism. And also, he's tracking back. There was times where when I was watching the game, Mavididi and Marcel were ahead of him, and he was dropping into that false nine, almost like a third defender, kind of the heat map showing here, which I thought was interesting. Again, the way that Enzo wants to play. So is his role going to be getting into defenders, and then the problem is from the back, does he then spin round and get the ball into the box? Is he there to tap it in? Not really. At the end of the day, we're winning games, so I'm not going to complain too much, but I still think he had a fantastic game. I think 8 minutes in, he hit the post. I thought that went in when did he hit the post? When Kelechi hit the post, I thought we were playing some great football. We started the game really strong, in my opinion, and that's something that I've noticed recently, especially under Brendan and who else was it? Especially under Brendan, we didn't start. We needed to have a slap around the face and wake up a little bit. This game, we did start quite well. And I was really glad with that. The fact that we started in such a strong vein, and we start, especially at home, because for the majority of the game, for the majority of that first half, we were on top. We kept them quiet. It was just a goal that came out of absolute nowhere from Aaron Ramsey that took them on to the next level. Other than that, I thought we managed the game brilliantly. Playing out from the back, the crowd were a lot more patient, and I was having a conversation with a few people around the ground why that was. And A, we won, which is the main thing. B, we saw it work where we've gone behind and we can get back into the game after a longer period of time. So in the first half, I think that's one of the best first halves that I've seen. And I think Enzo actually mentioned that as well. And I will get onto Enzo's comments in a little bit, but I think it's really exciting time from what he's saying as well. So in terms of what we've got, he's fantastic, really, in terms of what he was trying to do. We started the game on top. Cardiff really have a lot of possession. They were playing a low block, and a few times we could have had more. We could have had more through. But we'll go from the beginning, and then we'll go start with the Nacho. So it makes sense to go from front to back in terms of that. So this was the team that we set up with, as I kind of showed you through. And what was really impressive, again, so I've got the starting formation here as kind of a one builder at the moment. So KDH, I think at times was a little bit sloppy with his play, but overall, good work rate, good engine, helping back in with the defenders, and he was playing some really, really good stuff. So this is the 3-2-4-1 that I was talking about. And then we have so I think KDH did really, really well. Again, I'll bring his heat map. He was all over the place in a good way. He really enjoys and seems to be thriving under Enzo, taking directions, understanding, has some nice link-up play with Mavididi, and also has good link-up play with Iheanacho, and also has got a good relationship with Winks as well. So let me get both of them in, actually, and show you some of their heat maps as well, because Kieran Dewsbury Hall was operating more on that left-hand side, as we could imagine, but surprisingly high up. Somehow, from the heat map, he didn't get in the way of Iheanacho, but I think he played quite well. His role here was tackling back. He was tracking back a lot, which was great. I think he played really, really well. I just want to go to Harry Winks as well. So if I close this one, that'll just open that one as well. Harry Winks. Harry Winks again works quite well, playing quite high. He has a lovely way of drawing defenders in, playing a 1-2, playing it back to defender, running past, or just and his vision and his ability to pick out pass. Because at times, I've noticed that they were stretching the pitch as wide as humanly possible. So Mavididi and Marcel were standing on the touch lines about halfway, just waiting to receive the ball. And the main play it would come to would be Winks as well, would be part of the reason why we're building up. And I think as part of Winks, another player that did really, really well, in my opinion, was Ndidi. Considering I didn't expect him to start because we bought Casadei in. Casadei, again, I keep getting his name. Cesare Casadei, I think is how you pronounce his name in like the Italian way. I think he did really well. He just needs to work on his final finishing. Some of the 1-2s, he can really get the ball out of his feet. It's not something that I saw Ndidi do, because before I thought it was all legs, and he'd wrap his legs around and scoop the ball, while we think about the best Ndidi when he's playing alongside Yuri Tillemans. In this formation, he's playing slightly more. He's playing more advanced, and he's really linking the play. He is all legs at time. He is running, and he's getting some great locations, picking up the right hand side. Nice play again when it's him, when it's Marcel, and when it's Ricardo, all on that right hand side. He does play quite well. There was not as many 1-2s as there was against Coventry. At times we were splitting the play, but I still think that we're in a really good position as well. So I want to speak about Ndidi because I think he did well. And let's just get into a couple of people that actually scored the goals. I mean, Marcel, he started, and I was thinking, even before, what would really impressed me, obviously, the goal. I mean, that's something that's going to get talked about a lot, and rightfully so. Phenomenal hit. It reminds me of Ricardo against Man City. Remember, ironically, I think a couple of games afterwards, played Cardiff at home and lost 1-0. If you can remember that one. 2-1, I think it was as well, towards the end of the game under Claude Puel. It was a similar hit to that, and I was thinking, go on, lad. Well hit, well struck. But I was really impressed with his link-up play. His positional awareness was good. He took his goal, and his celebration was brilliant. He's obviously been dreaming of that moment from the academy, and it's just a testament to him, and also a testament to Enzo, to give him the opportunity, because who would have thought he would be impressed in pre-season, but how many players have we seen done well in pre-season, never given the opportunity in the first team? Wanya's come in, and he scored. Casey has come in. I know had a knock for this one, wasn't going to play, but that makes that right-hand side. And even though they probably are looking at the right winger, it gives them a problem. No, I think once the right winger comes in, I think Casey potentially can play as a high 8 as well. He's played as a cam, he plays left wing and right wing. But I think he can be back up to Mavididi, but also he can play as those number 8s. So if there is an injury to somebody like Kieran Dewsbury Hall, we are a bit light in that left-hand side. Pratt will probably come in there. He was out because of injury, but we've got options in strength and depth there. But coming back to Marcel, I think he did really, really well on that right-hand side. He took his goal brilliantly and he just grew into the game. And I mentioned this with Casey when we the game against Coventry, where he thought he was coming off and he took in Diddy off and he put Pratt on. And Casey went, "Oh my God, he's still playing me. I can't believe I'm coming off. I'm not coming off. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. He got a full 90 minutes, his legs. Really good. And that's going to do him a world of good, Marcel. He was, after that, his first touch, I think, is really underrated. When it comes from the sky, I thought a few times it's pinged the ball long to him because him and Mavididi started right on there. Literally, if I'm doing on the screen, no, I can't do it. My hand-eye coordination skills are terrible. And also, it's the other way around. So, like, they're playing right on the edge, and then they would also come inside as well. So they're not playing the roles as well. But also, defensively, they were both sound as well. Coming back and defending, helping out their fullback, especially Mavididi. Really, really impressed by him. But Marcel was playing. He's not a big lad, but he had the ability to get the ball out of his feet and he maybe needed a little bit more confidence. But even after that first goal, there's still levels to him. I don't know how old he is. Marcel Madivadua. With him as well, he's no, it's not coming up. My spelling's terrible. I'll try and find that out in the meantime. But he's he's only a young player. How old is he? 2002, so he's 20 years old. He'll be 21 in a couple of months' time. He's still a young player, and it shows you that Enzo can get the best out of him. And I was so impressed, so happy when he scored. You've probably seen I was in Ant's vlog a little bit as well. So happy for him when he scored. Really good technique and just blasts it into the corner. Celebrates with his shirt up. Loved it. Really, really loved it. And there's a reason why he was kept on for the majority of the game. I think Mark Albrighton came on for him later on. But really, really impressed. On the other side, Mavididi arguably was as impressive in a different way. Obviously, he's 25. He's got that leash about him. And in the ground, he was hyping up the crowd. When the corner's coming, come on, lad. There's something about it. He gets it. Whatever Enzo's trying to do, I don't know, whatever, like I understand, but that thing that Enzo's got, that X factor, Mavididi's got. He's got something that he works back hard. I want to get up the formations as well. His play was obviously down that left hand side. There was one time where he lost the ball. He obviously was playing on the right hand side. He busting a run to try and get in a good position. A couple of touches to him were a little bit too heavy, and he was having to go at people going, "Come on, man, you can do better than that. Give me the ball sooner. Give me the ball late. Give me the ball later, so I can really get the most out of this." In his position, let me get this up. He was actually playing a few times. His defensive work was phenomenal as well. He mainly played on the right hand side. And there was a couple of times where the ball was going out. He chased after it. I was like, is that going out? And he's bombing after it. And he gets the ball. And his intelligence football-wise at 25 years old, I think was fantastic. He would get the ball in the corner. He'd play. He'd either, again, there was one time towards the 90th minute where he was just holding off in the corner. He has the ability to get a pass to play. At one time, he was chasing a ball, went to the corner. I think it's on the, I can't remember, I think it's the first half. And he's chasing it. Go on, he's got it. And he takes a 1-2 touch and he gets a little bit of skill and gets past the defender, which was great. And then he doesn't actually get fouled. He goes down too easily. But the fact that he gets it, I'm not going to give up. And that mentality for me is fantastic. If you see him celebrating with Casadei for the second goal, you'll see what I mean. The team, the people that are here, the people that weren't included in the squad, we'll get into in a bit. They really are gelling together and they're buying into the system of what Enzo wants to do. All of the new signings and even the new players like Marcel, even though he's not a new player, he's new to the first team squad. Mavididi, KDH, really enjoyed. I think Iheanacho is really enjoying himself. Winks, I think, is really thriving. The fans are really liking him. At times, he can be a little bit defensively sloppy, but you expect that for that stature player. Ricardo, I think, had another good game. His ability, for me, what's really impressive is not just his technical skill He didn't have to break out as much as he did against Coventry, where loads of players swarmed him with bum, 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 and go through. I think that will come more when we play people like Southampton, who will have to utilize that a lot more. But I think he had a really good game. His vision to see balls and see passes, I think, was fantastic. And they're just growing into this game. Vestergaard had a decent game. I think the only time that I really saw him, he was winning headers. He won 3 headers in the game. I caught them because I was like, I might create like a Leicester City bingo as well, because I think that'll be quite fun to like go as we go along. Yeah, just really, really good. The only other time that he was beaten is when Romeo had the ball on that right hand side. He got fantastically again from the guy that got sent off, but 1-2 touch, cut past, played a lovely ball through. I forgot what his name is now. The guy that was subbed on for Ugbo, Let me find his name. Mieti. I don't know. He came on at half time for Ugbo, who Nathan, shout out to Nathan, lovely to meet him, mentioned as well. Really, really good player. And he just absolutely fluffed his lines. But you see with that considering he's a backup, he's pretty decent. What he does from the ball, I think, was really good. How he kind of commanding that back line was really, really good. And considering that's the second to back, that was the only time where he really broke a sweat, where I was like, he's in trouble here. Fastwatt and Doyle weren't back to cover him, and it looked like he was through on goal. He just, Mieti missed a right goal off that right hand, and he just, I was like, it fluffed his lines. That we were looking at that going, that could have been 2-1. And they played well. I think one thing I do have to criticize, because the second half they just started too slow again. We let Cardiff back into the game, and if we want to have that total football, that dominant football, we can't be letting teams back into the game. It wasn't as bad as Coventry or as Huddersfield, but it's still an area for concern that I really want them to work on, because I think they did play well, but for the beginning part, we didn't start strong enough. I think for portions of it, we let Cardiff back into the game where we could have done more. So that's my only gripe. And there was a couple of other people, not gripe wise, but I think there was really good play as well. Anyway, Vestergaard, I think of Dewell. Waltfass did well. I think he covered him well, playing on that right hand side, covering in that position. In the second half, I think he was part of it. He kept losing the ball in dangerous positions. Now, the reason why he's playing ahead of like Suter is because he can play on the ball. And we need to kind of keep that solid back line, because they are developing. They're still new. They're still learning from one another. New, different formations, new people in that back line. But he did lose the ball in a couple of positions where Hamadson ended up bailing him out, or it was just a bit, the fans were just a bit like, come on, fast, we can do better than this. And there was a bit of anger, but it wasn't too much, because we were still doing well in the game. Doyle, I think, had a really good game as well. I think a really underrated game. And what was interesting, I think, there was a shot towards in the second half. He was joining in the play on that right hand side, on the left hand side with KDH, and then he was not afraid to take a shot. His positioning is really good. His ability just to go, do you know what? I need to clear my lines, bang, and just hit it up to the top corner. I don't mind that, because it gets people back into formation, keeps people. It's strategic. I think for somebody that's 19, he plays as if he's 23, 24, 25. And I'm really excited to see if we can get him in full afterwards on a permanent, from what I've seen so far. And obviously things like Under, we've seen that before as well. But he is proven in the Championship. I think Doyle works in the system really, really well. He's got a nice relationship with Vestergaard and Fast, and that's building nicely as well. And it's only going to get stronger when Connor Cody comes in the back as well. So Connor Cody's looking to be back around early September, mid-September time. So the team's only going to get stronger. I mean, Enzo said we were only about 10-20% of the way through there. And from what I've heard as well, November is when it's going to click. So we've got September, we've got August, September, November is when we're really going to see the momentum of this team really start. And I'm so excited, man. Really, really am excited about some of these players and how we're playing at the moment. And then a couple of people off the bench. Madsen, didn't think he had too much to do. I think passing was good. I didn't really watch too much of him. I was more watching other people. I was watching more Mavididi. I was watching more Marcel. I was watching Doyle. I was watching. I wasn't really watching Hermansen because he didn't really have a lot to do. When he was called upon, he delivered, and that's what you need for a keeper. At 23 years old, he's a fantastic keeper. 20 years old, 23 is like 1980, 18 to 20, like in terms of an outfield player. I think he was so good with his feet. His passing range was really good. When he was called upon, he made the saves where it's necessary. I think at times he's commanding from the back as well. I was really impressed with his leadership, where he'll say, "Hey, go forward, I've got this," or "Come back," and he's talking to his back line, which I think obviously you need to do but it's something that Danny Ward didn't do as much, or if he did, he didn't do it as effectively as Madsen's doing. So I think he played really well, even though we didn't have a lot to do. And they'll get onto the substitutions. I mean, the first substitution was Casadei for Ndidi, so it's one that we kind of expected. Um, but Casadei, this might be an unpopular take. I didn't think he did that well. He scored the goal, and that's going to get praised. And well done for him. And he celebrated with this team, and he was really passionate. I love that. But he wasn't working hard enough, in my opinion. Ndidi was working harder than him, and considering and at times where everybody was pushing back into the formation and coming forward, um, he didn't really impress me as much. Does that sound really? I think. Do you see what I mean? Like his average formation, it was. Uh, there was things about him. I was like, you need to work more hard. He's talked about himself as a box-to-box midfielder. Enzo has mentioned box-to-box. Now, there's been some really impressive box-to-box midfielders. I think KDH did more running in the 30 minutes, in the 90, in the last 30 minutes when Casadei was on the pitch than he did. He had some good link-up play. It is his first match. I'm not saying I'm writing him off as of yet. I'm saying there needs to be a lot more work effort. But it depends on what we need him for, because at the end of the day, we've got Ricardo, we've got Winks, and he needs to be playing that higher position, which he did. And as we saw from the goal, again, I thought it was there were some people that were I didn't even see the goal because I was looking to the ref for a penalty. Next thing I know, the goal snuck in, and Casadei's away, and I was like, "We scored! Oh, brilliant!" And then we celebrated with everybody. Um, but yeah, I think it was that the 92nd minute goal. We are scoring goals late, and I don't mind that because we are knackering out the opponents in the meantime. So Cardiff again looked knackered. If you watch I'm not going to put it here, but if you ever watch when the final whistle goes, all their hands on their knees, they are tired. And Leicester City players are all happy and jubilant, but they're not shattered. And this is only the beginning from what we've got as well. So Casadei, I think Jamie Vardy came off the bench, did what he needed to do. Is he the striker that he was? No, but he's playing a role for the team. And Enzo mentioned this in the post-match. He singled out, he was talking about, oh, Casadei's played, he scored in his first league. He goes, yes, but I want to mention these two players. And he mentioned Jamie Vardy, and he mentioned Mark Albrighton. Mark Albrighton did what he needed to do in the game, and Jamie Vardy did the same. They know their position probably is going to start, and Jamie Vardy will probably start more than Mark Albrighton because of his stature and what he gives to the team. But I think his ability to run the ball into the corner, and just again strategically play out the game, I thought was really, really good. Mavididi had a similar mentality. KDH, especially Mavididi and KDH, we've seen over the last couple of games, them two get targeted for fouls, for just unnecessary, and especially Mavididi has got a little bit of a hot head to him. KDH was pushed about all over the pitch, collided with multiple times. I just don't want anything to happen to either of them. So it's just something we look out for, because people see them both as a threat. And Jamie Vardy is another threat, but he just wasn't on the pitch long enough to make a real impression on me. But I think he did well. Mark Albrighton came back, did his defensive duties really well as well. And Casadei, yeah, I'm not too impressed. And people have called me overly harsh. And he scored, and he was brilliant. Took his goal really well. He's an instinctive finisher. I think that's what we've seen from the first game. He's instinctive. He was coming on that right hand side a lot more. Marcel was coming around that side, and he was around these positions. But when we lost the ball and Cardiff went back, he was jogging back while other players were sprinting. And that's something that I just noticed. I don't want to look too much into it, but I'm really glad he got his goal. But there was things I was like, come on, man, we could be more impressive than this. And again, we're only earlier days into this now. We've still got room to develop. We've still got players to come in. I mean, there are certain players like Suter, Christensen, Castagne, Daka, players that just aren't fitting the system or have said they want to leave. And we need to find solutions for them ASAP. Because we have a good thing going. If you look to the celebrations of the second goal, it showed you, yes, it's a last minute winner, not last minute, but 90 plus minute winner. But there's a really good group of squad that are buying into what Enzo is doing. And with 4 wins in 4, that's only going to help that. So I'm not too. I just want these things to be sorted so that we're not in the position we were last year, where we had loads of players said, you aren't worthy here, you're not good enough to play, and then they're just hanging around for another year, even if it's on loan or something, just to kind of get them out. Yeah, so I'm in it. That's the only thing I'm kind of worried about. I don't want to be alienated too much, but I think that Enzo handled it in the right way. He mentioned earlier on where he goes, speaking of the 4 and 4, he goes, oh, he's asked about these players. Why were these players on the bench? And he goes, I'd rather talk about the score. Again, he just diverts attention, which I thought was really clever. But we need to get these players organised as well. A couple of things he said. Let's just get into some of the press conference as well. And he said, the first half, probably one of the best, probably our best first half of the season. Very happy with the final result. Of course, you did. You won. And what did he say as well? Yeah, we didn't concede any shots apart from the last one. So we're playing that total football already. And this is something I mentioned. He mentioned it as well. The second half, we didn't start the right way. I'm happy with the final result. So he's mentioning a lot of the same things that I was thinking as well, which I was happy about. What was it called? It goes play performance. Again, so that's 2 guys again, Jamie and Marcel McVeigh played 20 minutes and showed that they are here. And showed how big they are here. So it's something you mentioned. There's young players like Marcel and things. They're learning stuff from Jamie Vardy. They're learning stuff from Mark Albrighton. And they are only going to improve over time as well. This is what I thought was quite interesting as well. Because again, it's important for me. The reason why we're behind because of the way we played first half. He's not too happy. The way so in terms of the play first half, but we still conceded. I think here's the thing I was interested in. I think they were a little bit tired against Huddersfield, and they were the same today. I don't think they look tired, but Enzo knows there's more to come out of these players. He's saying they look tired, a little bit tired even then. But if you watch the final result, they're all celebrating while Huddersfield are all and bent over because they had to chase everything. And Huddersfield, Cardiff, and credit to them, they settled with a low block to frustrate Leicester City, and they nearly got away with it. I'll speak to Nathan. If you go and watch Ant's vlog, Ant's Leicester fan channel, for those of you probably know from this channel, you will see his reaction, which was he said that we're looking to hit him on the counter, which they nearly did with when Miete got past them, and Aaron Ramsey with that. Well, and he mentioned Ramsey's going to score a worldie. So fair enough. Exactly the same today. Again, Dennis Pratt didn't play because of injury. Was that everything? I think there was. So yeah, in terms of that, Enzo thinks that we are still early on in development, and we still are. But with 4 wins out of 4, I mean, we've got Rotherham coming up in the next game away. I don't think there'll be a post match for that one, just because I'm away that weekend. But yeah, if you enjoyed today's video, I'm going to try and get other people on, and we'll do like a group live stream, maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow night. We will have to see. But yeah, like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we'll see you all in the next video. So goodbye.